Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Saturday morning. I'm here with my coffee. Starting a little bit later than I wanted to, but I'm here. So today we are going to talk about the foreclosure protections that currently exist in the United States due to pandemic. So special rules that have been in place by the government to help people with foreclosures. My name is Benjamin Sanchez. Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Law. As you know, I represent consumers, tenants, and homeowners during life setbacks to help them move forward. I wanted to have a special edition today on the protections that the government has right now for foreclosures because I wanted to do that at the end of the week so that when we go over a little bit of these protections that you will understand um, what those protections mean in light of some of the highlights of the foreclosure process and rules that we've talked about. So let's get into it right now. The the first protection I wanted to talk about was really related to yesterday. So yesterday we talked about property tax foreclosure sales, and uh, those are government based, as you'll recall, because it's the government who's trying to sell the property due to pre, taxes being owed. So at this point, there are some cities, some counties who are allowing, basically, who are not going forward with the tax sales. So they're either suspending cases or they're just not following through with the actual um, written orders that they have to sell the property. Those so far have been in Bexar County in San Antonio, Harris County in Houston, and Hidalgo County, down in the valley near the border, McAllen. So those cities have had some temporary rules to protect homeowners at this point from property tax foreclosure sales, but of course those will expire. So you have to keep track of everything that's sort of going on regarding that property tax foreclosure sale. But it's in the news. If you're in one of those localities, then definitely you want to check with the news and with your local government to ensure that the foreclosure sale is not going forward. With that, we talked about the fact that you do have the right before the sale to pay off the judgment that's being asked, or to come to some sort of agreement. So, really, what you're getting right now is an extended period of time by which you can try to negotiate some sort of agreement to keep your home before some sale starts. So, that's a really good protection at this point. I'm looking at some websites here because I had these pulled up for us. And the next thing I want to talk about is the protection under the CARES Act. We all know the Federal CARES Act has had all sorts of protections, all sorts of um, money that would be allocated for different reasons. But in the CARES Act, there's also protections. So there is a federal mortgage uh, foreclosure, well, there's a foreclosure moratorium at this point. Okay. But what does that mean? That means that the foreclosure itself cannot happen if your loan qualifies. Okay. It does not mean, however, that you have a mortgage moratorium. So what the government has done through the CARES Act is it said that we are not going to foreclose, but you still owe your money to the lender. That's very important. People think that they have a right not to pay. It's not that you have a right not to pay, it's just that the penalty for paying, which is usually foreclosure, is delayed at this point. So, what qualifies for protection? Well, there are basically single family homes that are going to be covered, um, and these mortgages are going to be covered by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and then some other type of federal government mortgages covered under Title II of the Housing Act. The only about 2/3 of the homes are covered by those, so there's still a lot of mortgages out there that are privately backed that are not covered by the government. Okay, and those homes do not get that protection. Let me underscore that those homes that are do not qualify for this protection under the CARES Act do not get it. So you have to find out from your lender whether or not your home qualifies for that protection. Now, in the beginning, in the CARES Act, when it was passed in March, the deadline was sometime in mid-May. In mid-May, they bumped that to June 30th. Now, the Fair Housing Administration has extended the deadline for this foreclosure protection to August 31st. Okay, August 31st is the new deadline for this foreclosure protection. Um, Let me see here. So remember, your mortgage payments are still being built up over time and they're still accruing. So unless you either come up with some big payment for them when the protections are over, or the best thing to do is to get a forbearance of that portion of the loan that you were not able to pay. Then your home will be sold. So you really need to work with your mortgage company, your mortgage servicer, regarding forbearance. Now, how do you know if your home qualifies? For the most part, there is no, the problem with what we're facing at this point is there is no one database that allows for you to know whether your home qualifies. Basically, you have to check with each sort of institution. So for Fannie Mae, there is a website called it's www.knowyouroptions.com/loan lookup. There's no hyphens or anything in there. So that's www.knowyouroptions.com/loan lookup. You could also call Fannie Mae at 1-800-232-6643. That is 1-800-232-6643. For Freddie Mac, your website is going to be www.freddieMac.com/loan lookup. Again, Freddie Mac is www.freddieMac.com/loan lookup. Or you can call Freddie Mac at 1-800-373-3343. 1-800-373-3343. The Federal Housing Administration. Now, that is a program under the Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. So, if your loan documents happen to mention HUD, your loan statement happens to mention HUD, more than likely you may have some sort of FHA loan. Okay, but to give you the website for the FHA to look at this. This is going to be kind of long, but again, if you want to just Google, FHA COVID loan lookup, you might be able to do that. But the website, just so you have it, is www.hud.gov/program underscore offices /housing /S as in Sam, F as in Frank, H /lender /lender list. Now that is a government URL for you. You can't make it easy. At least Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were fairly easy. I'm going to say this one more time, but you can go ahead and look it up. It is www.hud.gov/program underscore offices /housing /S as in Sam, F as in Frank, H /lender /lender list. Okay, so that is the website to look up the FHA lenders to see if your loan servicer is on that FHA list. Of course, the fallback is to always call your lender yourself and ask them. Obviously, the lender should not be lying. But I will tell you this: if you are dealing with a smaller company, or you're dealing with some sort of mom and pop operation regarding the loan, don't be surprised if it's not on the list. And you just want to double check if you can somehow whether your loan is on that list. Okay. Um, that is the biggest foreclosure protection at this point. Again, it's August 31st for federally backed loans. It doesn't mean that your mortgage goes away. The government is making it easier for people to get forbearances at this point, so that's another good thing as well. Is that the getting a forbearance under the CARES Act is not going to hurt your credit rating. So under the CARES Act, if you're current on your payments and you get a forbearance, your credit report will show that you remain current until the forbearance ends. You got that? So if you're already current and you get a forbearance, then your credit report will not show that the forbearance. It will show that you are current on your payments until the forbearance ends. If you're delinquent on your mortgage and you get a forbearance, your credit report will show that you remain at the same level of delinquency until you catch up on the payments until forbearance ends. So, for example, if you are 30 days late and you get a forbearance, your credit report will show you as 30 days late only until you catch up or the forbearance ends. If you're behind on payments, but you catch up during your forbearance period, then your credit report should update to reflect your account status as current. So some people get behind, but then they catch up during that period. Your report will show that you are current. Please note, however, your credit report is going to show that you received a forbearance. Okay, so even though the forbearance should not hurt your credit score under the CARES Act, the credit report is going to state that you received a forbearance. And that particular note on your credit report could have some impact on your future ability to refinance your home, things like that. Okay, let me see here. As of right now, there have been no big rule changes regarding the credit bureaus on how they're going to reflect all of this stuff under the CARES Act. I would check your credit report often to make sure that the credit bureaus are handling your credit reporting correctly. The big three, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, are providing free weekly credit reports through April of 2021. Under the law, normally they have to provide a free annual report once a year. But at this point, those big three credit bureaus are providing free weekly credit reports through April of 2021. So you really want to keep track of that. Um, you probably just need to go to each of their websites and register to get those free credit reports. There are some there are some local governments that are trying to help their their citizens or residents with some funds that could potentially help to go pay for a mortgage. The In Austin, they have a Austin Rise Fund, so you need to go to that website, the Austin Rise RISE Fund, to see if you're eligible and how to apply. The City of Dallas, they also have a program that could potentially help pay for mortgage, rent, utilities, and other bills. San Antonio. San Antonio has the San Antonio Fair Housing Program. That program can also help with rent and utilities, including internet, not necessarily mortgage, but there's some resources there to potentially help you during this time. And then other Texas cities and counties have received federal funding that might support similar programs. So you just want to check, your local government to see if they've got anything going on. Let me see here. So regarding forbearance, some lenders are more helpful than others. Some lenders, when you ask, what they will do is they will just take all the payments that you missed and then put them at the end of the loan for a certain period so that um, you can just start paying at the end of that forbearance period the regular loan payment that you have. And it just extends the loan term a little bit longer. Other lenders, however, might demand that you make multiple payments, um, either after or before your forbearance period ends. So those are not helpful. The terms of those payments are all over the place, but there are some lenders who are doing that. I think the important thing to remember is that a forbearance, is a negotiation. So if for some reason you don't like the terms that your lender offers, then you can call them back later and ask them if they have, a better offer for you. Um, you know, you have the ability to get that forbearance but the actual terms of the forbearance are not determined by the CARES Act. So that's important to know. Each lender is going to be different. And if you've got a good lender who's willing to work with you, that's great. If you have a lender that's being hardline because maybe they're having their own problems, that's not so great. So you just have to keep remembering that you want to keep asking your lender for better terms if they have it. Oh, let's see what else. There are, in terms of legal, what you can do legally. I mean, obviously, you can go to a private attorney like me. Uh, I'm not here to really sell anything at this point. All I'll say in terms of my services is that I recently decided not to charge for consultations. I usually charge for consultations, and I was doing that up until about a week ago. So, for the foreseeable future, I'm holding a phone and video conference consultations for about 20 to 30 minutes free. So that way you don't have to come to my office and we can take care of it over the phone or via Zoom or Skype or something else. But if you cannot afford an attorney, then obviously there are legal aid societies out there, Lone Star Legal Aid, um, Legal Aid of Northwest Texas, North Central Texas. There's all sorts of legal aid societies out there that could potentially help you. There's also volunteer attorney programs, such as in Houston. We have the Houston Volunteer Attorney Programs. Just note that for any of those kind of programs, however, they are being inundated at this point, and it may be a little bit before someone can get back to you, or even if you qualify before an attorney can actually start your case. Now, the other thing that we have at the federal government level is we have the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Their website is consumerfinance.gov. Okay, consumerfinance.gov. They're a really good resource because they're the watchdog agency regarding how you're treated on financial transactions in the United States. So if you go to consumerfinance.gov, you will also uh, get a ton of information about the forbearance, about mortgage protections. You can make complaints about your lender. They have a database of complaints there. They will show you what kind of protections you have potentially for renting. But there's all sorts of good information. I'm looking at the consumerfinance.gov homepage right now, and as soon as you open it up, the coronavirus information they have, there's links to it all over, right then and there. So that is definitely a good page to look at. Let me see here. As I mentioned, let's see here. So some of these cities and counties, some of those protections from the tax foreclosure sales have ended. Some are still going. So you just have to check your particular jurisdiction. At this point, I don't see any questions in the comments. Um, so I think I'm going to end it. Just remember, you do have some protections. Um, some of the eviction protections are obviously over. There's still some foreclosure protections at the federal level for those loans associated with federal government as opposed to private loans. Okay, and you have the ability to get some forbearance. Plus, you have some local programs that help you with the tax foreclosure sales, and you have some local programs that may help you in terms of paying, getting some assistance to help pay for your mortgage. All that money runs out pretty quick, And I think in Harris County, they they said they approved $10 million, I think, for loan assistance, but that went by really quick. Okay. All right, guys. Again, this has been Benjamin Sanchez, another edition of Coffee with Law. I thank you for watching. If you like what I've been doing, it would really be helpful to not only to me, but to really to your fellow families and friends and people who follow you. If you like, follow, and share these posts and these videos are meant to be informative, and I hope that you've been getting some use of them. I've been trying to be uh, a lot more sort of basic and high level regarding the information I'm providing, as opposed to teaching a continuing legal education seminar, a CLE, which I also do, but those are geared towards attorney, and those are more uh, laden with legal language. So next week, so even though the majority of my practice is what I call consumer justice, the second part of my practice is family law. And so next week, I'm going to be covering some family law issues. Family law is very, very big, just as consumer justice is very, very big. I've taken, three big areas of consumer justice over the past 3 weeks and put them in one category per week. I'm not going to do that with family law. With family law, I'm going to cover a few things each day next week, because really after the first month, what I want to be able to do is to come on and on any given day potentially answer questions, talk about the legal headlines, talk about something interesting that's come up or a new facet of the areas of law that I practice. But it's not going to be scripted to where each week I'm just covering one particular topic. I've only done this particular strategy in order to get people to watch and to build some consistency. But after next week, it'll be a daily surprise as to what the video will be, and hopefully that'll get you interested in watching, because you never know what's coming. I appreciate all of your support. Have a good weekend. Have a very happy Father's Day for all of you, and for all the single mothers who are fathers too. Happy Father's Day to you as well. Again, this is Benjamin Sanchez. I'm an attorney in Houston. I wish you well. Thank you. Bye bye.